Welcome back. So next we're talking about the HTML entity code. But before we go into the entity code, there's something I feel I should probably let you know. There's what we call comments, HTML comments, and it's the art of writing comments inside your code that would reflect on the code but will not reflect on the browser. For instance, now um, you should understand something first of all, that as a developer, you'll be working not alone. You won't be writing code for yourself alone or working on your own. Most likely, you'll be working with, with a team, in a team of maybe 10, 15, 5 people, 20 people, 50 people. And then most times around, you need to pass around your code. It will not be, you won't be the only one writing the or doing a particular project from start to finish. You will probably have your own parts to your parts to write, and then pass it around to somebody else in the team might need to work on what you've already written. They might need to build more functionalities to the app, to the software, to the web page, building upon what you've already written. So whatever code you're writing should be, you want to write it in a way that you're not the only one that is dealing with this code. You are going to push this code to GitHub, and then somebody else on the team would have to download it to their machine, clone it, let me use the word, and then they will need to work based on what you've written. But if you write your code in a way that nobody will understand, it might actually be, quite difficult for the team. So that is the idea of HTML comments. Comments are written in the sense that for everything, it makes your code explanatory. For instance, now I could decide to do something like, okay, my main, I added an heading. Now I'm writing this here. Next, let's assume this is my next line of code. I added a paragraph. Now this is what I want, so that whichever developer on the team is working based on what I've already written, they should be able to understand that, okay, this is what I or what you intended to do. Not just, everything might not look meaningful, but when you had comments, it would make more sense. Okay, he added an heading. Okay, he added a paragraph. Okay, this is a paragraph. Yeah, I could actually write, I added my first div, my first div element containing an header, a paragraph. Now, I've added comments, but then the way it is looking now, if I save this and go to my web browser, look at what happens. I'm going to refresh from my web browser, and disappointingly, you'll see that the comments we added secretly, which is not meant to be seen by others, can you see that they are reflecting here? But we actually want to add this comment to the code, but we don't want it to reflect in the browser. Now, if you notice, inside the code I added it, I didn't write it inside anything, no h1, no h2, no paragraph, but yet it's still reflected. How then do I get to add an HTML comment that will not be seen on the browser? It is very simple. The, you have this, sorry, you have a less than symbol, what looks like an exclamation. Should, can you see, you automatically complete it, and I write space. So less than symbol, something that looks like an exclamation mark, and I have two dashes, and then the closing tag, or shall I call it the closing tag? Yeah, the closing part of it also has two dashes and a greater than symbol. And anything I add inside, you can see that the line is even green on its own. Any text, any comment, anything whatsoever I add inside these comments, now in between, I had something, I added an heading. Can you see? It is greened out. It is only visible on this code, but not on the web browser. So I'm going to that same comments to the others. In this case, we had um all right now. So I added this code. I'm adding it to my next one. And then the last one where we had a div, I think we wrote one, or we intended having a comment there. Let me see, we wrote three. Did my first div element. Okay, I added a paragraph. So after this HR, I added added a paragraph element containing dummy text. So we can now remove this one. Now I've successfully added a comment to this code. You can see the first one. So this is just for adding comments to your HTML code. In this case, now anyone that has access to this code would understand that, okay, I intended adding an heading here. That is what the developer intended. And then, I added the paragraph element. Okay, they already understand that, okay, this is the paragraph element. I added my first div element containing an header and a paragraph. They see the div, they understand everything clearly. You can add as many as you like, as many text as you want. If you notice, there was this link I posted, there was this video at the beginning of our first few, maybe 10 videos that of this HTML course. The video that had to do with the difference between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you can go back to that link, that calculator on CodePen, if you notice, if you inspect the three codes, both HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, they had lines of comments in between. Of course, how to write a comment in HTML is a bit different from that of CSS and JavaScript, just a bit different. But for HTML, which is what we are concerned about, I've shown you how to write your comment. So I save now and then refresh. You can see these comments, they will all disappear on the page. They've all disappeared. So it's not reflecting here, but the comment is only meant for developers to follow. All right, so I'll just stop this video here, and in the next video I'll go ahead properly with the entity code, HTML entity code. See you in the next video.